Yo, how's everybody doing? I just want to make sure that the stream isn't dropping frames. I still haven't upgraded my internet. I need to do that. That needs to happen. I think we're okay. Let me know in the chat if it's dropping frames or if there's any issues. Try to fix it. But first thing I'm doing after the stream today is actually upgrading my internet, bro. I keep forgetting to do that. Let me know if it's dropping frames, chat. Emmanuel, what's up, bro? Greetings from Nigeria. Happy new month. Let's do it. I'm excited for this next month. I'm excited for July. Guys, let me know in the chat if it's dropping frames or if there's issues, because I gotta get this fixed. Yo. What's up, bro? What's up? It is not dropping frames. All right. My internet has been shaky, man. My internet has been shaky. Let me just tweet out the link. I'm gonna tweet out the link on everything. Get everyone. Let everyone know, and then we'll get it going. Yeah, I gotta upgrade my internet, dog. That has to happen. It has to happen as soon as possible. I'm gonna do that right after the stream. This beat just makes me want to fist pump. Let me switch. I'm gonna do some more chill stuff. All right, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. Not just gentlemen. My ladies in the chat. Didn't mean to exclude you. All right. Let me just post one more time and then we'll get it going. I'm hoping it's not. It says 30% drop frames, bro. Why is it dropping frames? I'm gonna get the most juiced up, amazing internet I can possibly receive at my address. After the stream, I'm gonna just, whatever it takes, I'm gonna do it. I need the best internet because I can't deal with this when I'm streaming all the time. All right. Hopefully it doesn't drop frames. Hopefully there's no issues. Give me 1 second. Here in Africa now with enough internet. Glad that I watch your stuff every time you post. Yo, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you tuning in from Africa. That's insane. Nigeria, Africa. That's so cool. I'm all the way in the United States. It's so cool to think that, you know, people from all over the world are watching the stuff. That's so cool. All right. All right, I tweeted it out. I let everyone know. See how many people get in here. All right. Let's get into it. You guys know the drill. Very first thing we do every single Sunday. Why can't I drop it on the chart? It's not letting me put it on the chart. Did they change it? I can't put the picture on the chart. Hold on. All right. Apparently I can't put it on the chart. So let me. Bro, is my stream drop? It says it's dropping frames. Man, this is annoying. All right, hold on. Sorry, guys. All over the place right now. All right. Can no longer put pictures on the chart. So I'm going to just change the... All right. So the very first thing that we do every single week is check the economic calendar. What I do is I filter it for, the days of the week. So this week, July 1st, July 5th, that is our week of news that we need to filter for. And what I'm doing is just setting it for white and red. So red is high impact, white is no impact or no news. So bank holidays, it will tell us when there's bank holidays. It will tell us when not to focus on certain things. So I just do red and white. And, essentially we are just using this as our roadmap, as our tour guide to volatility in these markets. So when we know there's going to be volatility, we want to be trading those pairs. We want to be trading those tickers, whatever, assets during the news or after intraday. So we want to be focusing on these things intraday when there's news on the day. Now for the swings, it becomes a bit more insignificant. You don't really need to worry about whether or not there is news on the day. Because as long as there's volatility on the week with your swings, you'll be okay. So you just really need to see any form of red folder on the week for the swings. But for intraday, I really do like to demand volatility intraday to make sure that there's news that day and that'll push it towards the draw on liquidity. So as you can see, Monday we have Euro red folder and USD red folder, which means those would be okay to trade intraday. But this week is NFP week. And usually on NFP weeks, NFP weeks are the first Friday of every single month, the first week of every single month. And usually on NFP week, there's a bit of trickery, there's a bit of manipulation, just wonky price action. So I tend to be a bit more hesitant, but, there's a lot of red folder news this week. So I think we can get nice moves. So Euro and USD red folder on Monday, Canadian dollar has a bank holiday. So EU and USD, you can focus on Monday intraday. Euro and USD also have red folder on Monday and Tuesday. So those Monday and Tuesday, I could see these things moving, right? I could see these currencies, any pairs with those currencies moving. Wednesday, we have USD, bunch of red folder, FOMC meeting minutes. Then we have NFP on Friday. Swiss franc, GBP on Thursday. So you can focus on these intraday, but it's the day before NFP. So it is a bit more sus, and it's a USD bank holiday. So Thursday is a bit suspicious to me, being that it's USD bank holiday and the day before NFP. So this is the type of stuff that we want to understand. So I think there could be some nice moves early in the week. I am going to be focusing on trading, throughout the week. I don't fully not trade on NFP weeks. That's not something that I do. But I'm just mindful of NFP. I'm mindful of these big news drivers and when they're going to bring volatility into the market. So let me switch back to my other. All right. So this is my Inception watch list, my Inception trading plan. Inception is simply a filtering process that I do on price. So I filter all of these pairs, all of these assets for extremely clear and obvious draws on liquidity. And if they don't have them, then I don't trade them. I don't focus on them. They're not in my mind. They're out of state, out of mind, right? If they're not obvious to me, then I don't touch them. So the very first thing I always do is start on dollar. You know, US dollar is the world currency. So this is the most important thing to look at and understand where it's going. Everything that I do is based on fair value and liquidity. We're always doing one of these two things. If we're not offering fair value, we're seeking liquidity. If we're not seeking liquidity, we're offering fair value. As you can see on the monthly, we have this most recent range from swing low to swing high, and we're failing to offer fair value here and head lower. So for that reason, I'm expecting this to draw towards liquidity. I'm expecting this to be seeking liquidity on the monthly, because if we're not offering fair value, we're seeking liquidity, and we failed to offer this fair value and head lower. So for that reason, I believe we are seeking opposing liquidity here, and I'm looking at these highs as my first draw on liquidity on the monthly. So my very first, short-term draw on the monthly is this buy side liquidity, that liquidity, because again, we're not offering fair value, so we're seeking liquidity. Sorry, I'm like stuttering and stuff. Weekly breakaway gap. The way this candle closed, the way that this, these two candles have formed, we've offered both buy side and sell side. I do expect this to be a breakaway gap and continue higher. There's not much to see on the weekly. Same, thesis that we are seeking liquidity right now. Now on the daily, we failed to create a new fair value gap here. I believe we can head higher from this area here and just continue higher. We've already offered fair value here, so none of this is really relevant to price. We can just, get rid of that. This is where we should potentially head higher off of, but again, not that obvious on the daily, weekly. But we know that that monthly draw is higher, so I favor longs here. Daily order flow is bullish. Weekly order flow is bullish. Monthly order flow, you could say, is in the middle right now because we've created this fair value gap lower that could have, potentially, to me, this monthly order flow is 50-50 essentially, because we've created that fair value gap lower and we're failing to offer fair value. So I am, bullish on dollar still. So hopefully that detailed analysis on dollar was insightful. That being said, if we are bullish on dollar, if I want to see higher prices on dollar, then I know directly that with these majors, I'm bearish on these four majors, right? Because USD is the quote currency. Anything XXX USD, I would be bearish on if I'm bullish on dollar. And anything USD XXX, where USD is the base currency of the pair, I would be bullish on. So the thing I always want to do is pair the weakest currencies with the strongest currencies. That's currency duality theory. And when you understand this and how to pair these currencies together, you'll see that that is the most explosive, low resistance, high probability price action. When we, understand the draws on two currencies and we understand that they're both, one is extremely weak and one is extremely strong. There's a duality between the two. They're the opposite. One is extremely strong and one is extremely weak. So that's the currency duality theory. And applying this will change your forex trading. If you trade forex and you're not doing that, I highly recommend. So bullish on dollar, bearish on these four, bullish on these three. I'm gonna go through all the currencies first. AUD USD, Euro USD, GBP USD, NZD USD are all going to be the same on these currency futures. But the monthly, this order flow was bearish. We created this new bullish fair value gap higher, and we are, respecting it right now. Weekly is straight consolidation. So every time I'm looking at these currencies, I'm classifying them. I'm placing them into tiers or categories. Strong currency, weak currency, or consolidating currency. So just looking at this weekly alone, I would know that this is a consolidating currency. Dollar is a strong currency. AUD USD is a consolidating currency. So I don't even need to waste any more brain points looking at this. I don't need to drop into the daily like I just did. I'm only doing that to show you. I don't need to waste any brain points worrying about this. It's a consolidating currency. The weekly tells me everything that I need to know. On to the next. Monthly order flow. Bullish. We are respecting this bullish fair value gap, and we headed higher off of it. This monthly order flow is a bit tricky here on GU. We're at this overlapping area where we can head higher, but again, I'm bullish on dollar, so that makes it very hard for pound to want to push higher right now. If the dollar is moving higher and GBP USD will be trading inversely to that, then it's going to be hard for this to move higher right now, and it wants to. As you can see, we've really just been struggling. We've been consolidating. So again, I would, consider this as of right now a consolidating currency. And it's just really 50-50 to me. I do think that we can head lower on GU, which is contrary to what the order flow is saying, just because of, my opinion on dollar. And if that's not the case, I think we just consolidate, but we'll have to see. Right now we have bullish dollar, but this order flow is saying bullish. So there's conflicting ideas here. I never want to trade something where there's confliction, right? So if I want to be trading, I want to be trading something that aligns with what dollar is saying. So if I'm bullish on dollar, then I want this order flow to be saying bearish. I want this order flow to align with that. So again, GBP USD to me is just low probability right now. And the daily order flow is bearish. Weekly pulled back to this area of fair value. And so just not ideal to me. Canadian dollar. Monthly order flow is bearish. Weekly consolidating. Again, I would classify this as a consolidating currency. I don't really need to use my brain or even waste any brain points going into the daily and trying to make something out of this, right? Why would you even waste your time trying to get, why even waste effort and energy trying to extract trades out of this, trying to extract pips out of this, when there's so many other pairs on this watch list, when there's so many other assets, so many other things that we can trade? Why would you even force anything in this? You know what I'm saying? So as soon as you see that weekly consolidation, as soon as you see price not showing any intention to want to move, just skip it. So again, this is a consolidating currency for me, and that's how I would classify or categorize it. Now, Euro is clearly weaker than GBP USD to me. We're just consolidating on the weekly. Not ideal. We have that weekly fair value gap up here to head higher off of. Head lower off of, my bad. But again, consolidating. So these currencies right now do not look good to me, right? This is not the type of price action that is favorable for how I trade. So why would I want to force things in this? Why would I want to, impose my will or try to extract something out of price action that is unfavorable? This to me is the definition of low probability for how I trade. So for all the people that constantly ask, and I'm not saying that in a rude way, I'm just saying I constantly get asked, what's low probability? How do I know what's low probability? How do I know when it's high probability? This is the epitome. This is the S tier of low probability price action. Yes, I can trade this. I would be able to trade this and be able to extract, pips out of this, but I would be exhausted. And it's just unfavorable. It's low probability, statistically, probability wise speaking. It's tradable. I'm not going to sit here and say you can't trade chop, because you can. But for how I trade, I want clear one-sidedness. I want big expansions in one direction. Those are the cleanest trades. So sorry, I'm going on a little rant here about consolidation, but it's just seeing all these pairs in consolidation right now. It's just making it very clear that, you want to, it's just a good lesson for me to show you guys. Monthly order flow, bearish. Yen has been so weak. Why would you even long this? Every single pullback, you should just be looking to short. You know, it's just so obvious, so clear as day that yen is so extremely weak. Again, though, these currencies are just consolidating. You know, daily right now is consolidating. I want to see new intention to head lower on the lower time frames before I get involved in this. I want to see a new 4-hour fair value gap lower, just more intention to head lower. But man, these futures currencies do not look good to me. Weekly consolidation. I'm not even gonna waste the brain points. I don't care. I don't need to worry about it. So we have, you know, this bullish fair value gap here. We have this weekly consolidation. Just not ideal. Now, this is my, you guys have seen me talking about 6S for a while now. You know, I've been saying I'm expecting lower prices now. I'm expecting this fair value area to hold and for us to now seek liquidity lower. Well, use our time frame alignment, drop into the daily. After this stop hunt, it's very, very clearly putting in the top. This is very clearly the top on 6S. And now I'm bearish. Now, to me, this looks much more one-sided. Do you see the difference? Do you guys see the difference in this price action? See how one-sided this move is? How it's clearly, you know, shifting bearish and showing signs of weakness compared to something, you know, I don't know, like any of these, any of the ones I was just looking at. Let's look at the dailies and weeklies, right? Compare that. This. You know, do you see the difference? This is what you want. This is what you want to see in price, to have clear one-sidedness. You want to see clear higher time frame fair value gaps, clear bearish or bullish intention. So this to me is showing clear intention to head lower from this monthly fair value area. So I like 6S for shorts. And if I'm understanding that 6S as a currency, as an individual currency, is bearish, and it's very obvious to me that this is bearish, then I know that CHF pairs are pretty high probability because we have a very weak currency. So now what I want to do is pair this weak currency with a strong currency. That's the currency duality theory. And understanding this, you know, I'm going to remove all these from last week, but just understanding that 6S is clear to me and weak, I want to focus on CHF pairs. So anything XXX CHF will be bullish, and anything CHF XXX should be bearish. So I'm bullish on Dixie. I'll add it to the long list just to show that I'm bullish, but bullish on dollar and bearish on 6S. Now all these analysis are going to be the same, right? Because they're the same. 6A is AUD USD, 6B is GBP USD, etc., etc. So I don't really need to go through all this. I just did it on the currencies. We're just consolidating. This is not high probability or favorable price action. There's nothing for me to extrapolate from this. There's nothing for me to there's no reason for me to force analysis in these areas. So I'm really not interested in the majors right now. They don't look good. Until they show intention, until they show clear draws on liquidity, I'm not that interested. Now the only things that are going to be different are USD CAD, USD CHF, and USD JPY. So because I'm bullish on dollar, I'm bullish on these three because USD is the base currency. So the monthly is bullish, the weekly not creating fair value gaps, weekly consolidation. I don't need to waste any brain points to know that this is low probability price action. On to the next. Monthly USD CHF is going to be the inverse of 6S. So I already know that this is going to be higher probability. I like it for longs. So monthly internal to external, clear draw on liquidity, clear context to operate in. We drop into the daily using time frame alignment. The daily is shifting bullish now after being weak, right? This order flow is now shifting bullish and showing clear fair value gaps to head higher. So USD CHF to me feels very obvious. It feels very clear and one-sided. So I already knew that this would be on the long list. Now the other thing is dollar is strong and 6S is weak. So that is why this price action is so much more favorable. It's so much more one-sided. It's a weak currency and a strong currency. USD JPY, the monthly is bullish. The weekly is creating a breakaway gap here where I would expect us to not trade back into. The daily has this overlapping level here with this fair value gap that we can head higher off of. We've already stung into this fair value gap, it looks like, and I do think that we can just expand higher now. So I like UJ. You know, we have a weak yen. It's not ideal, but, or at least on the daily, it didn't look ideal with this consolidation, but I do think that this can head lower. So I'm actually going to add that to the short list because I do think that yen is super one-sided and weak. So yen, CHF, both feel obvious and weak. USD is strong. So both of these pairs are higher probability to me. Now let's go through the crosses. Monthly order flow, shifting bullish here on AUD CAD. We ran these, you know, stops here, created a bullish fair value gap, fair value liquidity. Now we're creating a new monthly fair value gap. Again, this is the brand new month. We're about to be in July, so make sure that you're looking at the monthly candles and understanding what the monthly is doing, how it's setting up. You know, the monthly should be the first time frame, the most important time frame that you understand. You should understand everything from the monthly down. Look at the chat. Love from India, bro. That's sick. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate the love. I'm always with you because you are welcome, dear. Thank you so much. Yo, fam, what's up, bro? Yup, I feel the same way, Julian. Right, I'm pronouncing that right. It's Julian. Let me know if I pronounced that wrong. If I did, I apologize. Just correct me, and I'll never, you know, get that pronunciation wrong again. CHF and yen futures, 100% agree. Ziha shop. Hey, what's up, man? Appreciate you tuning into the stream, Ziha. Misek, I have so many pairs on waiting list. I'll have to look at it, and we'll see if I run into that same we'll see if I run into that same analysis. Or I live in Italy. I'm Italian too, bro. That's sick. I'm Italian and Portuguese. My grandpa was super Italian. How do you pronounce it? Like, can you sound it out? Like, oh, it's Julian. I don't know why I thought the I was a Y sound. Julian. Like Ario. Julian. It's just Julian with a J. Julian Papa. I got you, bro. I'll never get that messed up again. Don't even worry. I don't like to mispronounce people's names. I feel like it's disrespectful. Even though, like, I don't intend to be that way. Alright. Let me move forward with the crosses. But yeah, alright. I won't mispronounce your name again, Julian. I got you. Monthly, seems to me that this can go either way. You know, we didn't really create a clear close above this candle's high. So what I want to do on these lower time frames is gauge the order flow, gauge the fair value gaps on the daily and 4 hour. You know, are they shifting bearish to potentially pull back to this level here? You know, this fair value area on the monthly, or are we just heading higher and not showing signs of wanting to do that? So on AUD CAD, I'm going to drop into the lower time frames. Weekly, straight consolidation. You guys already know exactly what I'm going to say, right? You guys know exactly what I'm thinking. I hope by now you guys are starting to see the pattern in the way that I think and the way that I treat things that are consolidating. AUD CHF, monthly internal to external. This is a CHF pair, which is one of the currencies that I feel are very weak and obvious. So I'm already, you know, understanding that this is probably a pair that I would like to focus on more in terms of these crosses. So we have internal to external context to operate within. This weekly offered discount of this range. We're heading higher off of this order block right here. Offered discount. Now we've offered fair value. So now we should seek liquidity over and over and over again. That's all the price does, right? We pull back into the monthly, pull back into this weekly level, offer fair value. Now we're going to seek liquidity and head higher. Now let me get rid of these levels because they're, you know, confusing. Pretty clear one-sidedness, bullish. Gonna add this to the long list. XXX CHF, like I said, should be bullish. Now we want to pair that weak CHF with the strongest base currency. That is currency duality theory. Monthly on AJ. AJ has been pushing, man. AJ has been pushing. Weekly breakaway gap. Whoops. Sorry about that. Weekly breakaway gap overlapping with this area here. Going to mark that. This, weekly fair value gap is now not relevant. The only thing that's relevant to us on the weekly is from this swing low to this high, current price legs. Actually, mind blowing once you start to view price like this, man. I'm just so blessed to be able to do this and to look at price this way. Like, do you guys see how simple what I'm doing is? I'm not saying that in a cocky way. I'm not saying that in a way that I'm bragging. I'm saying trading can really be that simple. The way that you view price can really be that simple. And I want you guys to feel what I feel, in terms of how simple this is. It's just such a blessing. I'm just marking out fair value gaps and liquidity areas, and I'm just reading the intention of price and the order flow. Gray boxes and gray lines are on my chart, and we're calling tops, we're calling moves on major financial markets, major currencies, like major indexes. You know what I'm saying? It's just insane to think about. It's so insane to think about. Daily headed higher off of this fair value gap, IRL to ERL. That was a pretty nice move on AJ. I didn't get involved with that, but AJ looks good for longs. I'll add it, but it would be on my wait list actually, because we don't have any context to operate in. So I'll be waiting for, a daily fair value gap to form to operate within that context. So I'll actually put that on the wait list, but it looks good for longs. AUD NZD. I actually took a loss on this, which is super unfortunate. I was in longs. I knew that this wanted to go higher, and I just got stopped prematurely because I raised my stop. So monthly, internal to external, fair value. Now you should seek liquidity. I'm gonna move this over. So we're expecting more bullish prices on AUD NZD. The weekly is creating a breakaway gap. Daily here has this bullish fair value gap as well as this overlapping high. Just beautiful. I got long right here and rushed my stop loss. I'll show you guys that trade really quickly. Where did I get in? Let me go back. I want to show you guys this because I've made a big discovery. I've made a slight change to how I'm managing trades. Julian, I know that you're trading this exact trading plan, so definitely pay attention to this. This is a super key thing that I'm doing now that I changed. This daily level, this is fair value. So now that we've offered fair value, we're expecting this to now seek liquidity. Now, AUD NZD daily level. Now we're waiting for the 1 hour to shift bullish and shift steady delivery higher. Hasn't shown any intention to head higher yet. I forget where I got in. Okay, it ran the stops. I wasn't in yet. I didn't get in yet. I think I got in right here. I have to look at it. It's in my journal. But anyways, it was something like this, right? It's very similar to this. Very similar. And what happened is we pushed higher. I think it was something bigger than this. My stop was further away and it was like up here. But anyways, on the 4 hour, we created this new fair value gap higher. And what I used to do for trailing in managing my trades is using the order flow legs, using the new fair value gaps and price legs. So I trailed my stop here in this trade. I took this exact trade. I was in this long. This happened the other week. I think it was last week. So I trailed my stop here because we've created this new price leg higher. So because of this fair value gap in the leg, we should sting into that and head higher. But as you can see, price wanted to offer discount of this range. Pull back, runs this sell side. Then we get CPI release and this thing absolutely blasts off. My stop was down here at the swing low or something like that, and I was targeting beyond here. That's exactly what it was. It was beyond this. But anyways, CPI sent this thing, and yeah, I took an L on that because I trailed my stop. Whereas if I'd have just left it below the protected low, I wouldn't have taken that L. So sorry, that was a bit all over the place in that explanation because I didn't have the exact entries I took. But so that leads me to my point now. With my swings and just with my trading in general, the way that I'm approaching my trades is set it and forget it. I am not going to be trailing my stop losses. I'm not going to be paying attention to where we've offered fair value, where we shouldn't head lower from. I'm not going to be going break even or rushing anything. I'm going to just literally take a -1R loss or a +2R win on every single trade. And to me, that is the purest form of just letting the numbers and letting the edge play out. I'm done choking out my trades. I'm done. And understand, guys, this is supported through all my data. I have, so many trades supporting this. All of my data, I let my data lead me to this conclusion. I don't make this decision off of something that somebody else did. I don't make this conclusion because somebody told me to do it. It's all based on my data. And my data tells me that I have been, dulling my edge by trailing those stops. So instead, I'm going to just take -1R losses or +2R wins on every trade. Set the risk, set and forget, stop loss or PT every single time. Yes, I'm going to take some, losses where we reverse and I could have went break even, but I'm okay with that because I trust in the numbers. I know my numbers. I know the data. So it's a super important discovery that I've made, change that I've made, and going forward, that's what I'll be doing. So every trade will be, yeah, exactly. Every trade will be 2R win or a -1R loss. Going forward, there's no in between. There's no break evens for me. Every trade is either hitting the target, the profit target, or it's hitting my stop. And I don't need to be on like capital defense mode trying to preserve. Like, you don't need to go on defense when you've already managed the risk. Your defense is managing the risk. So when I manage the risk, my maximum loss with the stop loss, that's my defense. I don't need to go on more, defense in the trading, right? So I don't need to introduce all those variables. I don't need to introduce emotions, rushing the stop losses. My defense is the risk management. That's what keeps me alive. That is my downside. So when that's managed, I've already managed. I'm already playing defense. I don't need to play more defense and dull my edge. So that's my philosophy. If it doesn't work for you guys, that's completely fine. Trading is very personal. It depends on what your data tells you. It may not work for you guys, but it very much works for me. So that's what I'll be doing going forward. All right, let's keep the ball rolling here. AUD NZD, slap that on the long list. Monthly context that we want to operate in. So this entire month, right, we want to be milking this context. CAD CHF, this is a CHF pair. XXX CHF will be bullish. I'm already knowing that I'm going to be interested in this. Daily shifted state of delivery here from that monthly level. This becomes an area of order mitigation. We've created breakaway gaps and headed higher. Add that to the long list. Not much else to say on that. CAD yen closing above this high. Bullish order flow. Weekly. Looks like a likely breakaway gap scenario here. How we're not sweeping this high, yet we're closing above it. This is showing the intention to want to head higher. I like this for longs. But that being said, there isn't context right now, so it'll go on the wait list. I'll be waiting for new context to operate in. This consolidation, not really interested. Now, let's go back to what I was teaching you guys about the currencies. Why is this consolidating now? Why is this not favorable price action? Well, here's your answer, right? Back here, we see how price is clearly expanding. We see how this pair is moving super nicely, right? Why is that? Well, if we look at 6S CHF, it was very bullish. CHF was very, very bullish around that time. So we had a bullish 6S in here, a bullish CHF, and then we had a weak yen at that time. So a strong pair and a weak pair. But now what we see is 6S has shifted state of delivery. It is now a weak currency. So yen and CHF are both weak. What are these? A pair of two weak currencies, and we have consolidation. Monthly doesn't look that good. Euro AUD, no weekly for value gaps lower. I'm just not a huge fan of this. Daily consolidation, I'm good on that. Daily consolidation, I'm good on that. Monthly, internal to external move here. Another CHF pair. We have a weak euro and a weak CHF. Not ideal. Daily for value gap here, but again, Not my favorite because of the weakness. Consolidating euro, but it is weaker than GBP in my opinion. So unless this, shifts bullish, just not the biggest fan. Euro pound has been trolling. I didn't take this trade off of intuition, but there was a trade on euro pound that many people took from this weekly fair value gap. A lot of people took a loss here when the 4 hour shifted lower. A lot of people I follow that trade similarly took this loss right here. Something like this. And the reason I avoided this, the reason my intuition kicked in, is because of how gross this daily was. I am not interested in consolidation. So until we create a daily fair value gap lower, until we show clear intention to want to head lower on euro pound, I'm not even interested in this context. I need to see clear intention. I need to see clear and obvious, fair value gaps lower on the daily. So then I'm good. Euro JPY, nice expansion. Weekly bag here. This is no longer relevant. Only from here to here is relevant. Not much to do here. Personally, not seeing much. Monthly. Now, this is where we need to be mindful. This wick on the monthly is already telling me that the daily may have shifted bullish here. The daily may be shifting. And what are we creating? A monthly fair value gap. So this monthly is likely setting up to potentially head lower. So I'm going to keep this on the wait list. I do think that this could be nice. We could potentially take longs towards that and then shorts off of it. We could be pulling back. Let's drop into the daily and see if it has shifted state of delivery. So it's not clearly shifting state of delivery to me yet. There's nothing here. There's no fair value gaps higher that have showed that this has fully shifted state of delivery. But I do think that this could be reaching for that monthly fair value gap here. So we'll have to see what happens. I'll keep that on the wait list, but that is pretty interesting. GBP AUD monthly order flow bullish, weekly order flow failing to offer fair value here. We're likely seeking this liquidity, these lows. Daily, do we have any fair value gaps to operate off of? We do not. There's not much here for me to get involved with. I do think that this can head lower now. Take that liquidity. But did we have any context? Not really. I do think that it heads lower, but rules are rules. I don't break my rules. Monthly order flow, bullish. Pretty yucky price action here. Weekly order flow is creating a weekly fair value gap, potentially shifting bearish. Very interesting. To me, this looks like it wants lower now that we're shifting on the weekly. But the monthly order flow is bullish. The weekly order flow is 50-50. The daily order flow has shifted bullish. Not the highest probability to me. I like to be in alignment with the monthly order flow. So because I'm bearish on this, I think this heads lower, but it doesn't really meet my demands. I need to make sure that the monthly order flow is in alignment. So I'm good on that. GBP CHF, we had SMT with Euro CHF. We were expecting this. I forecasted, called all of this in the Discord. I do think that we invalidate this weekly fair value gap. I'm not interested in trading this lower because I'm bullish on XXX CHF pairs. The daily hasn't created new fair value gaps higher. I would want to wait for new fair value gaps higher. But again, GBP CHF is just kind of consolidating. Or GBP is just kind of consolidating. And I'll add it to the long list, but it's not ideal. There's probably a more favorable pair to trade. Monthly is bullish. Weekly is bullish. No fair value gaps to operate off of. Daily hasn't done much. There's not much there for me to work with. Pretty yucky price action here. Monthly bullish order flow. Weekly consolidation. Immediate skip. Now, I call it shorts on this. This is one of those examples where I would trade external to internal because it's in alignment with the monthly order flow. But it is interesting here. We are creating this monthly fair value gap now. Very, very interesting. I do think that this heads lower. Kind of consolidating here. Setting up for the monthly. NZD CAD is interesting because we are, creating this monthly fair value gap here, where if we trade into that and the daily shifts, then longs could be in session. So in the short term, I'm bearish. From here, we can shift and potentially head higher. So I'll add that to the wait list and just let that cook. Gross monthly. Weekly, trolling. Not too interested. Monthly bullish order flow. Weekly. Creating a small fair value gap here. I think that's very small. Don't really like operating off of those. Daily consolidating. Not too interested. Indices have been trolling on the daily. Weekly consolidation. The monthly has offered fair value here and then seek liquidity. Now we're at all-time highs. I'm not worried about that anymore. This is just the current price like I'm worried about. Weekly fair value gap down here. Consolidate, a week of consolidation here. We can potentially, pull back into that and head higher. We'll see if it wants to do that. That is where I'll be reading the daily and 4-hour fair value gaps. Right now, I'm just letting indices do their thing. I'll add them to the wait list. But in terms of swings, in terms of, swinging this right now, it's just low probability price action. We're just consolidating on the daily. Gonna be the same thing on NQ. Russell, monthly consolidation, weekly consolidation, skip. Internal to external on the monthly. I actually like this boundary to operate in this context here. Yoink. Daily. Shifted bullish. Consolidating here. Interesting though for long, so I'll add it to the wait list. Now, crude oil. Some of these commodities are really interesting. Monthly internal to external context. Heading higher. Bullish monthly order flow. Weekly is creating this fair value gap here, where we can, potentially head higher off of. Daily consolidation. I would expect this to potentially pull back into this weekly fair value gap, and we have nice context here. Operate off for swing. So I'm gonna add this to the long list. Gold consolidating. Monthly respected that area here. The daily has not shown intention to want to head higher yet. It hasn't created a new fair value gap higher. So this stays on the wait list for me until we create that new fair value gap higher. Exact same analysis on copper. Area of fair value here where we can shift bullish and potentially head higher. But that being said, I need to see the daily confirm that idea. I need to see the daily shift bullish, create fair value gaps higher out of this area. So until it does that, I'm not interested. Keep it on the wait list. Silver, going to be the same thing. Weekly consolidation. Keep it on the wait list. That is my analysis on everything. Hopefully that was insightful. You guys have any questions? Anything you want me to look at? Anything I didn't make clear? Let me know. CAD CHF. I'd also put it on the wait list, waiting for daily FEG. I got it on the long list just because we already have this monthly context. We already have this boundary to operate in. And the daily has already shifted for me. So hypothetically, you could take longs. So this is on the long list for me personally. 2 weak pairs. Yeah, 2 weak pairs. 2 weak currencies as a pair are going to create consolidation on that pair. Wouldn't a new daily gap on Euro JPY be fine to trade? Most likely, yes. I just didn't add it. But monthly order flow bullish, weekly order flow, creating breakaway gaps. Yeah, that's fair. I'll throw it on the wait list. That's a fair assessment, brother. Yeah, but I just don't love operating at the all-time highs like that, but you can do it. Gonna be a great week. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Should be a good week. I'm excited. Bradley, what's up, man? How you doing, Bradley? Where you put stop loss when you enter in an FEG confirmation on the lower time frame. Okay, so this is our smart money reversal. This is where, market maker models shift bullish. So this is bearish order flow. We shift bullish. If you're entering on the low risk phase of a market maker model, which would be right here, this low risk entry, you can put your stop at that protected low. So if you're entering here, your stop can go here very nicely and just rest below that protected low, because we're trading into a higher time frame PD right here. So when we're trading into this higher time frame PD array, you're expecting price to reverse. Once that order flow shifts and we reverse, that is your low risk buy entry. So you can place your stop loss below this protected low and it should hold. Now you can also trade these stages of market maker models as well. And that is where the stop losses get a bit more tricky. There's going to be times when you have to get a bit more cute with it. You have to understand, you have to understand where price should and should not return to, where price has offered fair value. So it really depends on where price has traded to, where we don't need to retrace to, and you have to keep everything in context of the time frames above it. So on those stage 1 and stage 2 entries, it gets a bit more tricky. You can't just throw it under the protected low. You have to understand where we should and shouldn't return to. So you have the longs. Yeah, if I have any form of context off the monthly, weekly, or daily, I'm good to long as I understand where price needs to return to. When can you move the stop loss to break even? I don't, like I just talked about in the stream, I don't do that anymore. I personally am either taking a -1 R loss or I'm taking a +2 win, +2 R win on every trade. To me, that is the purest form of letting the numbers play out. And I don't want to introduce any more variables to my trading, any form of discretion to my trading anymore. I just want to let these numbers play out in my favor. My data has shown me over time that trailing my stop loss chokes out my winners, dulls my edge, introduces variables that I don't need introduced to my trading. So if you do want to do that, the way you would is based on fair value, based on where we shouldn't return to. You know, if you're trailing your stop to break even, then there should be no reason to return to where that break even is. It should not get hit. And that's based on IRL and ERL, fair value and liquidity. If we've offered fair value and headed higher, then you can move your stop loss there because we shouldn't return there. I just talked about the indexes, brother. I put stop loss at 0.5987. Could you please go over? Yeah, I feel like this will be a good learning experience. AUDCHF. Trade I took. Entry was on June 27th, 5 a.m. candle on the 4. Okay, you're swing trading. We have the monthly internal to external. Your entry was on June 27th. So the daily has now shifted bullish. Both those boxes are checked. Looks good. We traded into the monthly level. We had the monthly context. The daily shifted. So now you're good to take longs. I like that. So far, so good. 5 a.m. candle on the 4 hour. $5 a.m. candle. 5. That's not 5 a.m. Wait. 27. Am I dumb, bro? Why am I? Okay, yeah. I get it. You entered right here. I got you. All right. Now, where was your stop? Let me look. I put stop loss at 0.59587. 0.59587. Yep, this low. See, this is the issue. This is the thing, right? Price is going from discount to premium. This is something I've really noticed. And this literally was the cause of so many of my losses. I just had this conversation with multiple people, right? It offered discount of this range, bro. This is where you got caught up. This is a big reason for a lot of my losses that I've noticed. To me, you know, what happens is we offer discount of these ranges. So it's interesting because this did offer discount here. So I understand why you put your stop loss there. That makes sense to me. This isn't a great example because we did, you know, trade into this area here, offer discount and head higher. So I understand why you put it there. Like, it makes sense logically to do that. But I'm noticing this as well with my trades is where if we haven't offered discount, we'll run the stops, we'll run this leg into discount and then go. So I honestly don't have much to say about this because, all right, let me just make this more clear. A lot of my losses, what I had seen in these swings, is when I'm longing in premiums of these higher time frame ranges and we hadn't offered discount. So in your scenario, we did offer discount. So it's a bad example of what I'm trying to say here. But that being said, it's a huge thing that I've noticed. But yeah, I mean, I see why you took that trade and why the stop loss was there. Let me see if there's anything on the daily. So we're in a premium longing on the daily, which isn't ideal, but yeah, I mean, it's just a tough loss. I don't have much to say on that, man. I don't think that's a terrible trade or loss. I don't think you did anything clearly wrong. We are longing in a premium of the daily range. The other thing I would say is, you know, this isn't the most favorable price action. It doesn't look too clean to me. But yeah, I mean, they just ran that low. It's unfortunate. That's just a tough loss, honestly. There's not much for me to say about that. I don't think that was a bad trade or anything on your part. You got to understand it's also just probabilities playing out. But that thing I was talking about with the discount premium is super important. I've noticed, you know, I want to make sure that I'm taking long entries in discount and short entries in premium, because a lot of times we will run the lows of legs that have fair value gaps in them to offer discount and head higher. So again, this is a bad example because it already did offer discount of that range, but yeah, I don't have much to say. I think that was a valid trade. Just, you know, where we could get deep into this, I could get deeper into this and why I didn't take anything like this. And the reason for that is the currencies. So this is something that can really add probabilities to you in your trading, in your swings, is understanding, you know, the state of AUD and CHF. I don't think that was a bad trade. I don't think that was a terrible trade to take, but AUD CHF has just been consolidating. You can pair a consolidating currency with a weak currency, which is what you did on AUD CHF. But the most favorable thing to trade is a strong currency with CHF. So again, I really don't think that was a bad trade. I don't think you did anything wrong in that scenario, but hopefully everything I just talked about was insightful. Just gave you a really deep dive into your trade. So yeah, it wasn't terrible. Since we had NZD CHF daily context, AUD was stronger. Yeah, I like that. I don't think it's a bad trade, man. Probabilities playing out. And the only knock on it I would say is really, ideally you want to be trading a strong currency with CHF. In this scenario, I think you traded a consolidating currency with CHF, which can still work. It's still valid. The only thing you don't really want to do is trade two strong currencies or two weak currencies. So I don't think it's a terrible trade, but it's a loser. Couple red flags, but that's really it. I see bullish price action on Canadian dollar futures. Weekly void as support and 4-hour sharp turn. I see straight consolidation. I'm not gonna lie. I see straight chop, brother. You can you know, drop into the lower time frames and make what you want out of this, but I'm good on that. There's not much for me to do. This is what I mean about not wasting brain points. Yeah, we created the 4-hour ST. We're heading higher off that. The 4-hour could be shifting bullish, but I just don't even need to think about it or waste brain points on it. To me, this is just a consolidating currency. What's your win rate, and did you always take 2R? Yeah, I've always done 2R. I can't say conclusively what my win rate is yet. I only have about 16 swing trades taken, but I do believe my win rate will be in the 70s, if not higher. Right now, I think it's 60 something, and it's only been 15 trades, and I was on a losing streak, and I haven't had a big winning streak yet. So it's gonna be high, bro. If you really think about, you know, how numbers play out and win streaks and losing streaks, right now that losing streak is kind of skewing that win rate lower. It's skewing my probabilities. It's skewing my numbers because it's a short sample size. So once I have about 50 to 100 swings and I have some win streaks under my belt, I think I can conclusively say what my win rate is, but I think it will be in the 70s, mid, even high, with 2R. So going to be very profitable. It is profitable right now with that lower skewed win rate, but I think it'll be even higher. Once I have about 50 to 100, though, I can say conclusively. Right now, it's kind of a small sample size. But all of this data is live trading, live price action, no back testing. Clearly stuck in a range, needs to break out. Exactly. There's just no point in even trying to make something of analyzing this. It's just clearly ranging. And until we create a weekly for value gap out of this range, until we create a clear expansion to one side out of that range, there's no point in even, wasting time considering it. It shouldn't even be something that you factor into your trading or analysis. It's just a consolidating currency. That's how I approach it with the filtering process and with Inception. It's just classify each currency into a specific category, either consolidating, strong, or weak. And the way to do that is to understand the higher time frame for value gaps. Are we showing intention like 6S, creating clear fair value gaps and one-sidedness, showing weakness, or are we just wicking, ranging, creating consolidation? That's a consolidating currency. This is a weak currency. This is a strong currency. Boom. Simple. That's all you need to do. Don't make this stuff anything more than it needs to be. Trading is already so hard with psychology, risk management. Just it's already so hard. Don't make your analysis and trading harder than it needs to be. It's funny how everything goes full circle with trading. You learn ICT, you deep dive into all of the concepts, everything. And there's so much. And once you fully understand it, once you almost master it in a sense, you just end up stripping it down to just what's needed. Like you literally go full circle. It's so funny. The better you get, the less you use. Less is more. You strip it down to, all that's needed, and you just preserve your brain points, and everything can just focus on your psychology. Everything can be, focused on effectively managing risk and understanding the numbers. It takes me no brain points to do this stuff. I feel so good mentally doing this. And that trade-off is what allows me to just keep myself dialed in. So because I'm so, the way that I view price is so simple, I don't have issues with psychology. Obviously it's because I focused on it for so long, but I also have the mental capital to be able to focus on that and to be able to put my priority on keeping that dialed in. So even when I went in a losing streak, I was on a losing streak in June. It didn't bother me. I didn't have to stress out or worry about it because I had the mental capital needed to focus on my psychology and keep it dialed in. So that's the type of stuff that people don't talk about with your strategy and with the way that you view price. When you have a clear bullish perspective on weekly and clear bullish on daily, what's our bias? I think you just answered your own question, bro. So many forex options. No need to waste those exactly. There's literally so many forex options. There's no point in wasting time looking at consolidating price action when there's so many pairs and instruments to look at. It's not even just forex. For my guys that are outside of the US. Oh, whoops, I read it wrong. But there's so many things you can trade for my guys outside of the US with CFDs. You can literally just focus on an asset that's moving and creating for value gaps. Sorry, Ziha. All right. When you have a clear bullish perspective on weekly and a clear bearish on daily. Okay. No, you didn't have bad English. I just read that wrong. So you need to understand, the higher time frames take higher precedence. So NAS 100 is NQ. So the monthly is bullish. We're expanding. The weekly is bullish. We have a, like you said, clear bullish perspective on the weekly. Internal to external, The daily, I would say, is just consolidating. We did create this daily for value gap lower, but it was just to pull back into this weekly for value gap. So when we have a clear bullish perspective on the weekly and monthly, and the daily is bearish, you favor the higher time frames. You favor the context, the perspective of the weekly and monthly, because think of them as the parents, and think of the daily and the 4 hour as, you know, their siblings. Everything under MWD. It's like, what are those Chinese things? What are those things called? Like the cups, like the teacups, everything inside of each other. That's how price is. And the monthly is the biggest one. The weekly goes inside of that and is subservient to what the monthly does. The daily goes inside the weekly and is subservient to what the weekly and monthly do. And it just goes in that order. So it's a hierarchy. So when the monthly and weekly are showing clear signs to want to head higher, but the daily is bearish, you need to understand that the draw is still higher. So the daily is going to be forced to get in line with that intention. The daily has to align with the weekly and monthly wanting to go higher. Now, if the daily doesn't show signs of getting in line and wanting to be bullish when you have this perspective, then that means the weekly likely doesn't want to be bullish. You know, we're trading lower. If we create fair value gaps lower, then the weekly is drawing somewhere down here now. And there's no more, you know, bullish perspective on weekly. So I feel like it might be the Russian dollars. I'm thinking about it might be Russian, not Japanese. Let me look it up. Matryoshka. How do you pronounce that? Matryoshka. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yep. Bradley, you're that guy, Bradley. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The things that go inside of each other. I thought it was Japanese. That's crazy. The Russian dolls. It's exactly what I'm talking about. That is exactly how price is, though. The monthly operates inside of the weekly. The weekly operates inside of the daily. Everything is subservient to what the monthly wants. So hopefully that answered your question. If it didn't, I'm sorry. Essentially, when the monthly and weekly are bullish, you want to submit to that bias. If the daily is bearish, you expect the daily to shift bullish and get in line with that perspective. Yeah, when daily is bearish and bullish weekly, which should be traded? You'd be waiting for the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the daily to show signs of getting in line with that weekly bullish intention. But the weekly bullish perspective is what should be traded. The higher up you go, the more strong, the more power that time frame has over the lower time frames. So the monthly, you could say, has the most say. The monthly is the parent. Whatever the monthly wants, the weekly will get in line with. Whatever the weekly wants, the daily will get in line in. Whatever the daily wants, the 4 hour, and so on and so forth, right? So that's how you want to approach that. What about discount in weekly in NAS? Yep. So this range, we haven't offered discount of this range. So for me, what I would be gauging is, you know, how we react from this level. Does the 4 hour and daily, like I just was saying to whatever his name is, sorry, I can't look at it right now, but like I was saying, if the 4 hour shows signs to want to head higher and shows, you know, fair value gaps intention to want to head higher, then I know that we're probably not going to offer discount of this range. But if the 4 hour is bearish and is creating 4 hour fair value gaps lower, we may be offering discount of this range to potentially head higher, or we're seeking this liquidity down here. So all the time frames work as a compass. They all work in unison of each other, like a team. They understand each other's intention. They understand each other's, you know, goals, and they get in line with that. Yeah, no, I do the same thing, Bradley. If I see weekly context, I'm going straight to the 4 hour. Exactly. And that's where the time frame alignment is so beautiful. So time frame alignment, monthly to daily, weekly to 4 hour, daily to 1 hour, 1 hour to the 5 minute. So how that works, again, going back to that perspective question, the weekly has a bullish perspective. So how do we want to confirm that bullish perspective? We want to confirm it on the 4 hour and understand that this 4 hour wants to go higher. It's shifting bullish. So So this 4-hour order flow right now is bullish. Regardless of this strong pullback, I'm still bullish on the 4-hour. This hasn't shifted bearish yet. So this 4-hour right now, as of right now, because it's bullish, we're confirming the idea of wanting to go higher. And until this shifts bearish and the compass per se is pointing the other way, then I'm bullish from that weekly perspective. That's how the time frame alignment works. We go from the weekly context to the 4-hour as a compass. We go from the 4-hour to the 15-minute as a compass. So if the 4-hour is going to head higher from discount of this range, right? If this 4-hour is going to shift and now begin to head higher, then the 15-minute is going to confirm that. Right now it's not. Right now the 15-minute needs to shift bullish and confirm that and act as a compass. So every time frame you can do this. Every time frame is a team. You know, it acts as a compass. It acts as a guide to what's happening, where we're drawing to on the time frames above it. Want to see if we get that ST in the daily may just be the resistance to push price into our 4-hour for value too high. If I see a weekly context, if I'm going, should want to see if we get that ST. Wait, I'm kind of confused, Bradley. Like a new ST here, you mean? Because we already got the ST from the weekly. Want to see if we get that ST and the daily may just be resistance to push price into our 4-hour for value. Right, yeah, the premium raise on the daily, premium raise in general. This sweep can just, you know, act as a premium ray where we retrace into the discount to head higher. So we can still head higher off this order block here. What also could be very possible is we sweep this low. We hunt that low and then create new for value gaps higher. But to me right now, it's kind of in the middle in terms of the 4-hour. This is kind of a yucky price leg as well. And so in this consolidation, it's not that easy to understand, right? We could sweep this low and head higher. If we sweep this low and create a new 4-hour for value gap, to me, that would be very obvious that this wants to go higher. And I would be interested in longing. So right now, you know, I'm kind of just waiting. I don't know what you're seeing on indices, Bradley, but that's pretty much my perspective on it. The 4-hour is still bullish. You know, we haven't really showed signs of wanting to seek liquidity now after offering fair value. This leg did offer discount, but we may stop hunt this and head higher. And then new fair value gap I'd be interested in. If we don't and we create fair value gaps through that, then it becomes a bit more interesting. Sorry, I had a phone call. You're good. All is fractal because we can use IRL and ERL on daily and target the swing low. Yeah, exactly. Everything is fractal. So if you understand where price is drawing on one time frame, you can use the time frame below it to trade in that direction. All the fair value gaps show intention. Price just offers fair value and seeks liquidity over and over and over again. If you guys have any questions, anything you want me to do, let me know. But yeah, this is the list right now. So I'm bullish on dollar, USD CHF, USD JPY, so on and so forth. This is my long list. This is my short list. I have no shorts on crosses. That's very interesting. I have a bunch of stuff on the wait list. That is the watch list going into this week. How we can call you? What do you mean? Wait. You mean like a one-on-one call? If you mean a one-on-one, I'm doing do one-on-one sessions. Oh. My name is just Cam or Trading Patiently, whichever you prefer. Some people say TP, but Cam, C-A-M. You could call me Cam, you could call me TP or Trading Patiently. Full name is Cameron. A lot of people call me Kim. They think I say Kim. It's just Cam, C-A-M. Dollar should seek that liquidity. You The weekly we've offered discount. Stop hunt. Breakaway gap. Daily hasn't created new for value gaps higher. We can't still head higher off of this order block though. I don't want to gauge what we do. Do we create new 1 hour for value gaps higher or not? Every time frame acts as a compass. You made this look easy, boosting my confidence. Appreciate you. I got you, bro. It becomes easy. It's not easy. It's simple. It becomes simple. It becomes simple when you put the chart time in, when you put the hours in, and simplify it down to just what is needed for value gaps and liquidity. Everything is in the candlesticks. What about EU and GU? I already talked about EU and GU, but I'll do it again if you want. So I'm bullish on dollar, so I would be bearish on EU and GU off of that. The monthly is consolidating. The weekly has this fair value gap here that we could potentially trade into before heading lower, but I would need to gauge the intention of the lower time frames. You know, does the 4 hour want to create new for value gaps higher and be bullish, which it looks like it can be right here. We've created this for value gap. Could be shifting bullish on the 4 hour. So if this continues, we create new for value gaps higher, then they're pointing in the direction of that weekly for value gap up here. The 4 hours confirming the idea of being bullish into this, where we can potentially then head lower. But the daily is pretty gross and consolidating. I do think we can do something like that. Let me transpose the weekly. We can do something like this, potentially, before heading lower. Whoa. But yeah, consolidation, kind of yucky. GU is going to be the exact same thing. GU has been slightly stronger though, I would say. See how GU has that weekly bullish for value gap here? EU does not. EU made a stronger expansion in weekly bearish for value gap, where GU did not. So just off that alone, we know that GU is stronger. Consolidation again. So I would favor EU for shorts, but just not really interested right now. And we still can potentially trade into this before heading lower. So just kind of waiting. TP take profit. It's also toilet paper. Crazy. How do you start your trading day? What are the steps? I go through this list every single day. So not this list. I go through these lists. So every single day in the morning, I check the economic calendar, check the news for the day, what has red folder, what is the economic calendar saying? Every morning, that's the first thing I do. And then I run through what pairs are setting up in this list. Not the big one, just the ones that I made on Sunday. So just the green, red, and yellow. Those are the only things I focus on throughout the week. And then I ask myself, what's setting up? What is the highest probability? What is the weakest and strongest pair right now? And highest probability thing to swing. That's what I'm doing every single day. Pretty much all I do. The swing trading plan is so easy. I'm not gonna lie that I have so much brain points left over. I've been focusing on this plan, which is just focusing on ES and NQ. So I've been taking usually one trade a day on ES or NQ. Well, that is my rule. I take one trade a day. I don't force a trade. If there's no trade, I don't take it. But if it meets the criteria to trade, then I'll take one trade max a day. If I take a loss, I'm done for the day. If I take a win, I'm done for the day. Last week I took, I think, 3 or 4 trades on indices. And then 2 swing trades. So pretty good frequency as a whole. I've been kind of thinking about Inception and Solus, which are just the 2 different trading plans. I've kind of been thinking about them as one investment strategy, one way of just growing capital as opposed to making them separate. I'm still collecting the data separately so I can look at them separately if I want, but kind of thinking about them as a whole. What have we done as a percent this month as a whole investment strategy? What have we done in terms of our what are the win streaks and losing streaks, but I also have the separate individual data as well. So it's just cool. That's why I really like TradeZella. It's just so easy to see all of that. Low resistance liquidity run, it's important. It's the best thing to trade, but you inherently will be trading low resistance liquidity runs if you do the things that I teach. You know, if you pair weak and strong currencies, if you wait for clear fair value gaps in one direction, if you align with the red folder news and the economic calendar, then you will be inherently trading low resistance liquidity runs. I think it's hard to trade all pairs and indices. I used to feel that way over time. And as you simplify this and get more familiar with everything, it just gets easier and easier. It only gets easier, bro. Now I have so much brain points preserved that I can just focus on this intraday. Then I just flip through these and I'm saying, all right, what's setting up for a swing? Oh, this is setting up for a swing. I'll set my order and get in. All right, back to focusing on ES&IQ. So I'm only trading the 5 minute. I only use these time frames. I don't use the 1 minute. Bradley MMT is a scalping goat. He's a 1 minute warrior, even lower than the 1 minute I think he trades. So if you guys want to learn some stuff in terms of scalping, that's your guy. But I don't drop lower than the 5 minute. I don't think it's personally necessary. That's just my opinion. But if it's something that resonates with you, by all means do that. For me, I get too exhausted by it. I gave the 1 minute a try again, like less than a month ago, and I looked at trading the 1 minute off of 15-minute PD race for the entire week, and by the end of the week, I was just so exhausted, bro. But I'm not talking crap on the time frame. It's just my opinion. But yeah, that's your guy if you want to see the scalping or learn about scalping. The other thing I really like though about filtering and looking at a lot of stuff is it keeps me in the macro perspective and it keeps me aligned with the higher time frame order flow. Whereas when I used to just focus on ES and NQ purely, I felt like I got zoomed in a lot. Like I would be on the 4 hour and 1 hour and not keeping everything aligned. I wasn't on the monthly and weekly as much as I should have been, understanding what we were doing. Whereas now when I do the filtering and then I flip over to them, like it's like I understand everything from the top down and I never get too zoomed in. So we'll see what this does. I'm kind of just gauging the 4 hour price action. Do we sweep this low and begin to head higher, or do we close strongly below it, and then where are we heading from there? So everything acts as a compass. I'm with you, sir. ES&Q for me next week is buy. We see. Yeah, I just need a bit more confirmation from the 4 hour. If we sweep that low and shift, it would be interesting. But yeah, I'm long biased for sure. Personally, you always want to submit to that higher time frame order flow. I'm not interested in calling a top. For confirmation entries, what's your criteria? I am actually making a full video talking about this. Market structure shifts, Orioles ST, changes state of delivery, all of that. I'm making a full video breaking that down. So that will be coming soon. I'm actually going to film that today. So stay tuned for that, ZHA. But I personally use ST, which is a concept by Oreo. But they're all just different ways of viewing order flow shifting. So whichever resonates with you is what you should use. So if you like market structure shifts and they are more obvious to you, if they resonate with you and you're more confident in those, then use those. If you like Oreos ST, use that. If you like change in state of delivery, which is basically order blocks that form at the higher time frame PD array, use that. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else for me to say. I hope that this weekly forecast was insightful. If you guys haven't joined the Discord server, make sure that you do that. I'll drop the link right here. And for all my people that may potentially want, one-on-one sessions, I'm going to link that as well. Basically, I've been offering paid one-on-one sessions where we, reverse engineer any issues that you may be having. We figure out what's preventing you from being profitable. So I'll link that right now as well. Here's my Discord. Make sure you guys join that. Hopefully that link worked. If it didn't, I'll resend it. But let me just link both of those. If you guys want to join the Discord, definitely get in there. I don't think it worked. HTTPS. Okay, now it should have worked. There's the Discord link. Make sure you guys join the Discord if you haven't already. And then I'll link the Calendly right here where you guys can book a one-on-one session. If anyone wants to book a one-on-one, of course, you know, they are going to be paid because this is a significant amount of time that I am, you know, spending helping people and reverse engineering your issues. So it's like anything. If you're paying for a golf lesson, if you're paying for a swimming lesson, you know, you got to pay for their time. So I do all the stuff on the YouTube for free, everything on the Discord, Twitter, all for free. You can dive into the content there and learn for yourself. But if you want a shortened learning curve, if you want that white glove, you know, personal, I'm taking time out of my day, one-on-one, that's where you would book it right here. So if you guys do want the one-on-ones, there's your link right there. You can book a one-on-one session with me. If the user is okay with it, can you record and put up the one-to-one session on your YouTube? I am completely fine with people recording the one-on-ones and keeping them for themselves, but I probably won't upload them on YouTube just because I don't know where I would do that. We could do like potentially, nah, I don't think I would want to do that because I think I want to keep the one-on-ones as something that's kind of exclusive. And if I'm doing that, then I'm kind of just giving away all the information and value from the one-on-ones publicly. So I personally probably won't do that. But I'm completely fine with the person that I'm doing the one-on-ones with recording it for themselves. As long as, you know, they're not sharing it with everyone and posting it. So I do try to go more into detail about everything and be, like, I'll drop even more gems in the one-on-ones. So yeah, I'm going to keep those kind of private, but that's where you guys can book me. And the one-on-ones are just for an hour per time. You can book longer ones for 2 hours. We can do multiple a week, but I have about I think only 4. I've done like 10 so far, but I have about 4 that I'm working with consistently doing one-on-ones with. So I'm not trying to do too many, maybe like 5 to 6 people, but yeah, just basically shorten learning curve, figuring out what is preventing you from being profitable. What in your data is, what is your data saying? Is your data saying that you're choking out your winners and that's why you're not profiting? Is it saying that you're closing trades too early? You know, all this stuff. We reverse engineer your issues. But anyways, enough talking about that. If you guys want to do that, the link's right there. And yeah, new video coming soon. Very, very soon. Like I just mentioned before, it'll be on market structure shifts, STs, change in state of delivery, essentially order flow shifting. That's what the new video will be on. And how to enter. So that video will be very, very good. Make sure that you guys are staying on the lookout for that. And I appreciate you guys very, very much for tuning into the stream. I hope it was insightful, and I'm going to go on with my day. I hope everyone has a good trading week. I'll tune in with you guys very, very soon. Have a good rest of your day, guys.